Welcome back everybody, this is Always back with another video on the channel. So this is going to be a project-based tutorial again with Java. This tutorial has been highly requested because I've done a full series on Java JDBC, but a lot of people asked me to create a tutorial on basically creating a project. So in this video we are going to create this school system. So as you can see, we have two files, schoolsystem.jar file and then schoolsystem.sqlite file. We're going to be using Sqlite for our database. Let's open the application and I'm going to give you a demo of this. So this is the application. Now let's type the username and password to log in as admin or student. So I'm going to type the password for that and I'm going to try log in with the student with this username and password. Let's click on login and it's telling me wrong credential. So let's change that to admin and I'm gonna click on login and there you go, our application is running. Now in this application we have a few things, like we have the forms, we have this table view where we can display the data from the database into the columns and rows. Now let's click on load data. And as you can see, I have all of this data available in Sqlite file, which I'm retrieving with the help of this application. Now to add data, you can simply type the ID. So let's just type 05 ID name. Let's just say Tom, Mirza, and Michael. I don't know the spelling, but it's whatever it is. So tom@tom.com, and we can pick a date of birth for Tom. Let's select the date of birth, just a random date of birth, and then you click on add entry. And now it doesn't show here because we need to refresh this. So let's click on load data again, and there you go. At the bottom you can see we have successfully added Tom Mirza Michael, tom@tom.com, and a date of birth for him. Now we can clear the form by clicking on this clear form button, and then we can add entries as much as we want. We can load the data there. We have the admin section, student section. Well, this tutorial is basically going to give you an idea that how to start working with a bigger project. Like if you want to add a search feature to it, you can search on Google and add that functionality to this application, or you want to make sure that if you double click on this Tom Michael, and it will open up another window which will have the profile picture and details of this, and you want to modify that. So after watching this tutorial you will have a basic understanding of how to work with Java application with databases. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create databases, how to retrieve data from there, how to display data, and how to connect to database. We're going to use this Sqlite Studio, which is a free open source application you can download online. I'll show you in the video how to download it and how to use this as well. So with the help of this software we will create a database. As you can see, we have the school system. Into the student folder we go to the data section and we have all of this data here. Alright, so we're going to be learning a database. We're going to be learning how to build a database application with Java. So yeah, that's about it. So before we start, I want to say if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for this kind of tutorial, and thank you for watching, and let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start with the new project. I'm gonna click on create new project and we will use Java FX for that. Let's click on next, and I'm going to name this school system, and then you can select whether you want to save on a different location. So I'm going to click on finish. So by default IntelliJ IDEA create three files for us: main.java, controller.java, and fxml file. I'm actually going to delete this package, which is a sample package, and we'll start from the scratch. So we don't have any package. I'm going to click on right click actually, and then new, click on the package, and we'll just say login app first. So let's just click OK to create a package. We need to create a class which is going to be, let's just say login app. Well, the first letter we keep as capital, login app.java, and I'm gonna delete these comments. We're gonna need another class which is going to be login controller. I'm going to delete these comments, and then we need an fxml file. So let's right click here, click on file, and then type login.fxml, which will create an fxml file for us. We can open in the scene builder here. So let's go back to login app.java. This is going to be our main class of our project. Now we're going to write some code into our login app.java file, which is going to be our main class. We have the login fxml file. I'm going to delete this, so we'll start from scratch. Let's go back to login app.java. Well, I could actually use the sample package which created 3 files for us. It had a controller, a main file, an fxml file, but it's good to start from scratch because it's good to learn from scratch. So people watching this tutorial will probably using a different IDE such as Eclipse or NetBeans, so they understand where to start and what to do. Alright, so you could even write this code on Notepad and then compile it with the command line. Okay, so we have the class login app, and now to make this to FX project, like Java FX project, what we need to do here, we need to extend this to application. Alright, so as you can see, it imported for us, like we have the import for Java FX application.application. Now this is basically giving us an error. It's telling me that this login class must be declared abstract or implement abstract method, which is a start method. That's what we're going to do next. So let's type that, public void start, and then let's type stage, select the Java FX stage, and then name our stage object, so stage, and then we can just throw exception as well because it needs an exception. And then inside that we are going to write our root node, so which is going to be our fxml file, but we need another method which is public static void and main method. So every Java application need a main method, so only thing goes into a main method is launch arg. So as you guys know, we create a main method with string of arrays and name it args. You can name it whatever you like, but usually it's args. So let's just type launch, and then here we just type args, which will help us to run our application. Now let's go back to the start method where we create our root node. So to create that, I'm gonna type parent root. This is just the object name is equal to, and then I'm going to cast this to parent class, which is a Java FX class, and then we need this code fxml loader. So select that, it will do an import for us. So right now on the top you can see we have the import for that, and then here you type load method, so call dot load method on it, and then inside that we need a get class dot get a resource, and then inside the resource in the double quotation you need to type the name of your application. So it's in the same package, login.fxml, so that's why we don't have to give a path. So we just type login.fxml, make sure it's in the double quotation, and then we have added our root node. Now let's set a scene. So we need to create a scene, so select scene and make sure you import that as well if you're using different IDE. So IntelliJ IDE automatically import for us. This is a really cool like IDE. I think it's very good for learning. So scene, let's name that as scene as well. New scene, let's create an object from root, and then we can set a stage as well, dot set scene. So we need to set our stage to a scene, which is scene. So let me explain to you guys. So we created a root node, we access this login.fxml file, and then we created a new scene object, and we need to set the scene to our stage. So this is the stage object we created on the top. So we set that, and then after that we need we'll just set the title as well. So type stage and call a method on it, set title, and then inside that let's just say school management system, and then let's show the stage. So stage.show method, call it. Now let's save the file, and if I run the application, it should run without any errors. So we have an error here caused by Java fxml. Okay, so let's figure that out what's going on. So we have this login.fxml file, But if we go to login.fxml file, it does not have anything. So what we can do here, we can just drag anchor pane and drop it here. Let's save that file as well by pressing Ctrl S. And now let's try running this application again, and there we go. So now we have the anchor pane there, so that's why we can see school management system. Okay, right now we don't have anything, but we will create a few more things before we get to the databases. Now with this file, if I go to the control menu, and we should see something called controller file. So we can add that as manually as well, but yeah, let's go and open the controller file now. So in the controller file, we are going to do a lot of coding here, but let's go back to login.fxml file for a few seconds. Let's go to the text, and here we have our fxml code, which is basically expanding all over the place. So what I'm going to do here, I want to write a code here to access that controller file. So okay, at last, maybe inside that here we can just type fx and then select the controller file, and then inside the controller file we'll just type the name of our package first. So package name is login app slash, and then let's just actually dot, and then we have this login controller file. Let's save the file, and now we have the controller attached to our fxml file. So if we go here, code layout, right now it doesn't show anything. Okay, let's go back to login app. Now we have created a package login app, which will give us few things such as login to our application. Now let's work on a database. So what database that we can use? You have few options, a MySQL, or you can use Sqlite. For this tutorial we will use Sqlite. So to create a Sqlite database, what you can do, let me take you to the Google first, and there are two softwares that you can use. So I'm just going to type Sqlite Studio. Let's see what we get. Alright, so Sqlite Studio, this is a software that you can use for Windows. So just go to download section and download for Windows, and if you're on the Mac, click on this Mac version of that software. I've already downloaded that, so let me just quickly show you guys. This is Sqlite Studio. With the help of this, we can create a database. Now with the student school system, I've already created a database, but I will quickly show you how to create a database using Sqlite. There's another popular extension for Mozilla Firefox for Sqlite. You can use that as well. So let's open Sqlite Studio, and here as you can see I have this school system database, but we will create a new one. So let's click on database menu, click on add database, and then here click on plus sign, and then we will go to where we want to save it. So what I want to do, I want to go to the directory where I have saved that project. So this is a school system project in the source package. I'm going to name it school.sqlite, and then click on save, and let's just click on save. Now we have this Sqlite 3 school database. We have tables views. So right click on the table, create a table first. So we need two tables. We need the table for our admins and students. So first of all, let's just create a table for students. Let's click on type students here, and then we need to add few entries to it. So what columns do we need for our students? So if I click on this button here, which will let me create a column. So here ID, data type would be text. Well, you should use integer, up to you, whatever data type you want to use. So for that, just make it simple, use the text, so we could use the same function in Java to access this. So let's click on OK, add another table that's going to be f name text, and we need a few more. Let's just create all of them. L name and type text as a data type, and then we had email there, or email, yep, email text, and then we have a DOB, that would be date object, or you can just use text. Well, I will show you how to access data, because we're gonna have to write different functions for that, so I'll just keep that as text for now. We got a table. Let's click on this tick mark button, which will create a table for us, and then we go to data and we can add data to it. So let's click on plus ID. We can just give one first name. Let's just make sure that we add a few things here. So ID 1, first name Ways, Mirza Ways at awais.com. Date of birth, just type whatever, 08/01/01/2017, and let's click on this tick mark button to add an entry to our database. Alright, so this is how you can create an Sqlite database. But I've already created this school system database where I have two tables: a login table, which I have username, password, and division, which are the data type of varchar. I have a students, which has few data in it. So if I go to data, this is the data we have. So that's what we're going to use, but I've already shown you how to create a new database. So let's right click and remove this database. Now we have the school system database. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that to the source package of our file. So here we have the school.sqlite in the source package, right? But I'm going to delete this. So delete it. And I'm going to copy the previous database I have into the source package. Alright, so I've copied that school system.sqlite database. Now we need to connect to this database. So for that, what we can do, I'm going to right click on source package, go to new, and then click on a package. And for the package name, I'm going to name it dbutil. Click OK. So we got another package there. Now we're going to create a few files, but first let's just confirm that we got everything in the login app and it's working fine. Okay, so let's go to dbutil package, right click, create a new Java class, and for the Java class I'm going to type connection. Okay, so in this class we are going to write some code to connect to our database. Now let's come down here, and inside that we need to create few variables first. So I'm going to show you how to connect to a MySQL database. If you're using MySQL or if you're using Sqlite, you won't need all of this code. So let's start with the code first. So inside that, let's just create a private static final variable, and that's going to be string and username. This is a constant final, that's why I'm typing the name in uppercase letter, and db, we'll just name it db user. So with the help of this we can connect to MySQL, because MySQL needs username and password to connect it to it. So that's why I'm writing this. You don't have to write this if you're using Sqlite. So string password is equal to db password. Okay, so I'll show you how to connect to MySQL as well. And then we need another private static final string. We'll name it con, which is a short for connection, not to get you guys confused. And then jdbc colon MySQL colon slash, and then we can this is the part of the database in your MySQL. So login, local host slash login, the database name. Okay, well we won't need this, but this is just to show you guys how to connect to different. So if we want to create to private static final string, and then we can just say scon. Okay, Sqlite. So we'll just name it sqcon, and to connect to Sqlite type jdbc colon Sqlite colon and the name of your SQL database. Well, if it's in the source package, then you don't have to find the path. The path would be just the name of your database file, which is school system.sqlite. Okay, now let's come down here. We start our connection. So let's use a method static, and we type connection. This is, as you can see here, it's a connection coming from java.sql package, and then we have the import on the top as well. So connection, well, I'm gonna name this method as get connection. Okay, so inside that, first of all, let's just throw SQL exception, because this is gonna give us an exception. So throw SQL exception, and then after that, let's open our try and catch block. Oops, we need to cut this and paste it here. Okay, not down there. Throws. Alright, so here we are going to open the try and catch block, and here we need to type class dot classes, this one, java.lang dot file name, and then here we will just type org.sqlite.jdpc. okay, and let's just finish that, and then inside that we just type return driver manager class from SQL and dot get connection, and then string is going to be this scon. So let's just type this sqcon. Okay, save the file. We have an error here. Let's just figure out what's, well, we need to catch that exception. So let's just type catch, and inside that class not found exception, which will help us to remove print, let's just stack trace. Okay, and there's still an error. Let's find out what's going on. So it says class not found exception, but we actually declare that catch class not found exception. I think I've write that right, class not found exception, and then we have to actually name that. So ex, that will remove that, that will just get rid of the error. So this is the class, and we just actually return as well, because as you can see on the top, we need to return something. It's not white, so we'll just return null for now. So this is the class that would help us to connect to our database. Alright, so the next we're gonna work on our fxml file. So if I open that fxml file, if you're using IntelliJ IDEA, they actually have the built-in scene builder in the software. But there's a problem with this scene builder. So if I select a grid pane, you know, it's not really active. I don't know what's wrong with this built-in. So if you are using NetBeans or Eclipse, you will be able to work on a scene builder pretty great. So there are pretty much less options here. So to fix this problem, we need to use the external scene builder. So for that, what you can do here, if you have installed scene builder, so let's go to Google, and I'm gonna search for scene builder for JavaFX. So this is the website gluonhq.com. So this is where you download the scene builder and install it. Now once you install that, and let's say you are working on IntelliJ IDEA, not NetBeans or Eclipse, here over there you need to have, they don't have any built-in scene builder. So with IntelliJ IDEA, they have the scene builder, and it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. So to fix this problem, what you can do, you go to settings, and then you will go to languages and framework, and then click on JavaFX, and then it was asking you to define the path to scene builder. So here you can see I have defined the path to scene builder. By default, scene builder will install on your C drive, user, your name of your account, app data, local scene builder. So here, once you go click on this button here, and then you go to your installation for your scene builder. Usually it install on your whatever the Windows install on your drive. So it's a C drive, most commonly C drive. So in C drive, you go to users, name of your account, and then app data, local scene builder, and you select the scene builder.exe file and click OK, and then click OK. Now instead of just opening this file into this built-in scene builder, I'm going to close that. I'm going to right click on that file, and I'm going to click on open in scene builder. And there you go. So we have successfully opened that file into scene builder, which is made by Gluon, and it is great. Okay, let's just expand this. Now let's work on this file. I'm gonna delete this grid pane. The one change you will notice here, we have a lot more option on the top. Okay, and then we have this controller option as well, which will help us to select the controller graphically. Now for that, we can search for the components, controls and stuff like that here, and I'm gonna search for anchor pane. So anchor pane, let's just drag and drop. As you can see, I wasn't able to drag and drop on the built-in scene builder. Now with that, I'm going to select the preferred size here. That's let's just give it a size of 320, or let's just say 350 width, and let's just give it 350 as well. Just make it rectangular. Now inside that, we need a few things. First of all, we need a label. So let's just select that label there, drag and drop here, and now I can just increase the size of the label and drag and drop. So double click on that to change the DB status. Okay, and then enter. This is just a label for us, and then we need another label. I'm going to click and drag and drop it right in front of it, and then here I'm going to just leave it empty. And then after, once I select that, I need to go to the code, and then here I'm going to change the name of like fx id. We need to define that. So here we can just say db status. Okay, so with the help of this fx id, I can access this into my code. Now we have db status on the top, we have db status label, and now let's work on some login components. So we will just say text field. I'm going to drag and drop it here, and let's just expand the size, and let's just drop it here, and then we can add another text field here. I could copy and paste that, but yeah, let's just do it separately. And then we can just add few labels. Let's select the label from here, drag and drop right in front of it, select that, drag and drop right in front of it. So there's few things we need to define the ID for that, such as username and password. So I'm just going to increase the size for that, and let's just give name of username, and then that's going to be password. Okay, and then this is a text field, but I want to delete that. Instead of text field, I want to use password field. So let's select that and drag and drop it here. Okay, and I'll just save the file, and then we can preview this into Windows. So this is how it's gonna look like. Okay, so we have DB status. If it's connected, it will say connected there on the top. We have the username and password. Now for the IDs, what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to select that text field. I'm going to give ID of username and password for this field. So this text field has ID for username. So as you can see at the bottom, we are in the code section. Make sure you're in the code section, not properties, not layout. In the code section, give a name of ID of username and then password. And then these two labels, it's gonna stay the same, so we don't need to access them into our application. And then we need a combo box. So let's just type combo box. Let's just drag and drop it here. Okay, so in the combo box, I need to give an ID as well. So let's just give an ID of combo box. Okay, or we can just save selection or whatever you want to call it. And after that, I need to take a button, so which will help us to log in. Now let's just select and drag and drop button, and I'm gonna double click on that button to change the text on the top of that. So that's login. And then in the combo box, we can go to properties, and then here prompted text, you can say admin or student. Okay, so we have pretty much done whatever we need to do with this file for now, but later on we will work on it a bit more. So make sure you have done everything. We have ID has been given, all of them are pretty pretty much done. Okay, now the last thing, we need to go to controller, and here we'll select that as a controller file. Now let's just save it. So this is our controller file. Now it has already changed that for us. So now let's just close this. I'm going to run this application, and there you go. So we got the DB status, doesn't say anything yet, username and password. There's one more thing we can do. Right click on fxml file, open in scene builder. If you don't want to write these labels, you can just select that, and we can say prompted text username and password, prompted text password. Okay, that looks a bit better. I think so. Let's run the application and let's see what we have so far. So we have this school management system, username, password, admin, student. So in admin and student, we need to have two options, right? We need to have admin or student we can select. So let's fix that. So we need two options. For that, we can create an enum. So let's go to the package name and then right click, new, click on Java class and change the kind to enum. I'm gonna name my enum to option and then click on OK. And inside this, we need to have two options. The first option is going to be admin, comma, whether it's a student. Okay, so I think I spelled it right. So admin, not adim. Okay, and then add a semicolon there. That's our two options. Inside that, we can add few methods here. So option, and then let's just come down, add this string value, name it value, and then just return the, we can just return the name. Okay, the name of that, and then let's add a public static and then option, and then the name of the method, let's just give it from value, and then add a parameter here, string, and then we just say v for value. Okay, and then inside that, let's just return value of v. So this is the enum we need. So we have two options, admin and students. Then we can populate these two things into our combo box. Let's save that. I'm actually going to close this. All right, so the next step, we need to create a model for that. So MVC pattern, model view controllers. All right, so let's just do that. So right click on the package, new Java class, and then we just say login model class. Let's create that. And in that class, there's going to be a lot of code here. So I will try to explain everything I write. So I just don't want this tutorial to be 5 hours long. Okay, so first of all, we are going to create a connection object here. So let's type connection, and then let's just name it connection as well. And then I'm going to add a public method. So let's just type public. We just add a constructor for that first. Let's just say login model. That's going to be constructor. And inside the constructor, first of all, let's check whether it's connected to database or not. So let's open a try and catch block, and then we just type this dot connection. So if you're not sure about what is this means which is referring to this object here. So this dot connection, we can just say equal to db connection, which is our class in this one. So we need to import for that. We need to import that. So let's just do that on the top as well. So let's just say import db, and util is the package name, dot db connection, and that will remove this error here. So db connection, and then dot get connection method. Well, it's still giving me an error. Why is that? Let's just try to write that again. So db connection from dbutil dot get connection method. Oops. And let's find out. Okay, we need to have a catch block for that as well. So that's why we're getting an error. So we can just say SQL exception. We'll name it EX, and then inside that we can just leave that just let's just say ESX dot print straight class. Doesn't really matter because it's not going to give us an error. So after this catch block, we can check if it's connected or not. So let's come down here, use the condition statement. So this dot connection is equal to null. Okay, if it's null, then we can just add system.exit method, give value of 1. Okay, so let's just save that. Now this is our login model constructor, and after that let's come down and we need to have few more methods here. So first method is going to be isDB connected. We can check if it's connected or not. So let's just say public. We need to select as a boolean because we're checking if it's connected or not. If it's connected, return true. If not, then return false. So public boolean is, let's just say database connected. Inside that, let's just return this dot connection and not null. All right, so there's another. And now next method we need to have is login. So whether it's logged in or not. For that, public boolean is login is a method name, and then we need to pass in few parameters here. So the first parameter is going to be string. We can say user, comma, string password, comma, and then string will just say opt for the option, and then throws exception. And then inside that method we can use our prepared statement and result set to access data from SQL. Okay, so, sorry, from database. Now for that we can first of all prepared statement. This will do an import as well. I'm just going to minimize that terminal. On the top you can see we have the import prepared statement. Let me give a space here. So we need to prepare the statement first, and then we just name it PR, and then we just left that as null for now. And then we need to use another class result set from SQL. It will do the import on the top as well, as you can see here. And next, name the variable for that. So RS should be fine. I won't forget it. Okay, and then we need to have a string for our SQL query. So type string SQL is equal to, now this is an SQL query. If you're not sure what's happening here, then you need to watch some of my tutorial on SQL. So the first thing we need to select, we need to tell it to select, so SELECT, and strat from, we need to have an asterisk sign, and we just start from, and where we want to select it from. So in our SQL database, if we go to the database, and here we have the login table and a student table. Okay, student table has some data and a login has some data as well. So this is a division. We have the admin and a student, so two username and password. So we have the Awais, hello is a password for admin, Umer, and hello is the password for student. So I want this to query to select from login from this table. So for that we can just say select from login, and we use the very close username. What is the username? So I'm just writing the column name. So select from login, which is a table, and then select from username, which is a column. Okay, so select from login very username, and then we need to have a placeholder for that. So we just use question mark sign, and the set and password is equal to question mark, and division is equal to question mark. And then let's get out of this string and add a semicolon. Now we have created our SQL statement, sorry, SQL query. Now we can use that into a try and catch block. So first of all, let's use our object. We created a prepared statement object which was equal to null. So let's use that first. So we will just do pr dot set string. So the first one, so in our SQL query we have this username as the first, second, but first I forgot to do that. So we just say pr dot pr is equal to, we need to set our prepared statement to our connection. So this dot connection dot prepared statement. So prepared statement, and here what we need to pass in the query. You could write this whole lot of thing inside this, but I've actually created a variable on the top named SQL, so I can just simply type SQL. Okay, so we have set our prepared statement object to this, and now we can set our strings for that. So let's type pr dot set string, and what is the number one, comma, and then we set that to user. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are checking from this query where username inside the database is equal to user. So user is going to be the letter we pass in our text field. We can pass in that here, and that's why we created these parameters. Okay, so the first one is one user, and then the second one dot set string, and then just say number two, comma, is a pass. Okay, so this is the variable we're using here, so we can pass in parameter on one side, and then we need to check division as well. So pr dot set string, and then inside that number three is going to be opt. Okay, so from database we are checking on number one, username, second on password, and then third is a division. All right, and then after that we can execute our query now. So let's just say pr dot execute query, but we need to set that to our result set. So let's use the result set object. We set that is equal to pr dot execute query. So execute query, yep, that's the one. And then we can check. There's going to be a few things we need to check, so we can just set one variable. Let's just say boolean. I'm gonna name it bool1 just to check whether if it's true or not. So if rs dot has next method, has next will check that if there's more there's things in our database. Actually it's next, not has next, and then we can return this to true. Okay, and then else we can just return false. Okay, and after that we need to catch some SQL exception. So SQL exception, name it ex, and then it's just return false. We actually don't have to do it here, so we can just get rid of this, and let's see if we get an error. I'm pretty sure we shouldn't get an error, but if we did, then we can just return the false here as well. So let's just do that, return the false here as well. Okay, so finally, if you watched my database tutorials on JDBC, you need to close the connection once you create a collection. So after that catch block, we can type finally, and then inside that we can pr.close and call that method, and then rs.close method to close the connection. Now this is what we need to do in our model class, and then we can use this model class into our controller class to access data and then check whether it's true what we're passing into our text field. Alright, so now let's work on our controller class. So let's go to controller. Okay, so here the first thing what you need to do is we need to implement another, so let's just say implement, and we need to implement initializable. So initializable, where is it? I just don't know the right spelling for that, so that's the one. So initializable javafx.fxml, so we can access fxml once we initializable. So now it needs the, let's see what it says. So let's read that. So login controller must either be declared abstract or implement the initializable method. Because we're implementing initializable class, so we need to have a method here. So let's create that first. So let's just say public void and initialize. That's the method. and inside that type URL, and URL is going to be the object name, and then a resource bundle, and we can just say RB here, right? And then it should remove the error. Well, it didn't. Let's see. So that's URL. We need to import that class. So let's click on this bulb here, import the URL class, and it should remove this error now. Now let's access some fields and stuff from our fxml file. So if you go and open this file into scene builder, we just use the built-in scene builder for now. So if I see I need to access this username text field, password text field, so how do we access them? We access them by ID. So if I select this button and I'll go to the code of, and if it should open, so here we don't have any code yet, but we should have for our text field here. Yep, username. We need to create this on action event for login button, so don't worry about that for now. So let's go back to controller file, and here we can access them. Actually, we just get rid of this import, and here I'm going to first of all tag them. So let's just use @ fxml, tag it. It will import that class for us, and then after that let's just make it private. First of all, let's just access the label. So let's just type label, and here you need to make sure you select javafx.scene control. Don't select java awt label because it's not gonna work. So make sure you select this, which will import the right class for us. Now label, and then what is the ID for our label? I'm going to close this login.fxml file and right click and open that in scene builder. And then we can see, so username, we have this ID for that, which is username. So let's do that. So let's just type username, and after that we need to add all of our fields here. So what I'm gonna do, add another fxml tag, private, and then after that we have another text field. So let's type text field, and then here what is the ID for our text field? Let me just check that. That's username and that's password, and actually that was db status, not the username. So let's db status, and text field ID is username, and then add another fxml tag, private, and that's password field, and then password is the ID for that. So we accessed our db status, username, and password, and then we need to access the combo box as well. So let's just type fxml and make it private, combo box, and inside the combo box we can just say option, which is our enum, and then combo box. Okay, I'm not sure if I've set the ID for that, so let's select that, and we don't have an ID for that, so we just change this to combo box. Okay, so combo box. Yep, and we need to change that here. So here's a B, is a capital B, so we need to change that to combo box. And what else do we need? We need the button there as well. So add another tag, fxml tag, private, and then let's just say button, and make sure you're getting all the proper imports, all right? Otherwise it will give you an error. And then for the button, we have the button, where is the button here? Select that and give an ID here again. So let's just say login button, save it, and then let's go here, so we can type here login button here. So we got a db status, label, username text field, password text field, and then combo box, and I think that's pretty much what we need. I'm gonna create an instance of the login model class on the top. So login model, and we just say login model is equal to new login model on the top, so we can use that login model now. Okay, so inside our initialize method, let's check if it's connected to database or not. So if this dot login model, which is over this object, which is taking control of our database connection. And we just say login model, and we can say is database connected. That's the method we need to call from our this login. So is database connected. Then what we can do here, let's finish the if statement, and inside that we can set this dot db status. So this is the db status label, okay, and then we can call the method set text to connected. If it's connected, then it will work. Else we can just say else clause, and then inside that this dot login model. And actually we don't have to call that now. We just say this dot db status dot set text, and then we can say not connected to database, and here we can change this to connected to database. Let's save it. It will initialize that, and after that we can access the combo box. So this dot combo box, and here we need to set the items from our enum. So we can just call set items method on our combo box, and inside that we can just say fx collection. So if you're not sure about fx collection framework, I've done a tutorial on that as well, so watch that. So fx collection framework, and then dot observable array list, and then inside that we are going to call our enum option. This is the option inside our login app dot, and then values. Okay, so let's just call this method values. So if I go back and show you guys what's happening here, so we're calling this value. So this is returning the values from there. Okay, let's go back to controller class. Now I think it's time for us to run the application, and let's see how we're going. Let's click on this play button to run the application, and finger crossed it should okay. We got a bunch of errors here. So the first error is class not found, which is org Sqlite JDBC. Oops, we actually did not add a connector, a driver for that. So this is very important. And is there anything else causing this issue? So if we go to external libraries here we can see we have the JDK 1.7, but we don't have the external library for connector. So let's go to the browser, and here we need to go to Google. So I'll show you that from the start, and then here we can type Sqlite JDBC driver, and then you will get to this link. So the first one, let's click on that, and then we will have this download section here. Let's click on download, and here we have all the versions for drivers for connecting to Sqlite database. So download the latest one, which is this 3.16.1.jar file. I've already downloaded that, so we'll go back to IntelliJ IDEA, and then I'm going to just minimize this. And now how do we add external library to our project? So first thing, we go to the file menu, we click on project structure, and then here you will go to libraries, and then let's click on this plus icon, click on Java, and then here you need to browse to your jar file. So I've already downloaded that to F drive, and here is the Sqlite JDBC-3.16.1.jar file. Let's click on that, click OK, and then click OK, and then here we have the library there. I'm just going to get rid of one of them, might cause an issue. All right, so we have the classes here, right? So let's click on apply, click OK, and then here in external libraries you can see we have this Sqlite drivers now. So we save the file, and then we finger cross and run the application, and let's see what's going on here. Okay, we still got an error, so let's find out what's the error. So exception in the start method, we are actually dealing with our exception. We throws the exception, shouldn't cause this issue. So what it says, caused by JavaFX fxml load exception. So it's getting in a problem with this fxml file. Okay, so yep, we go to fxml file, and then we just right click on it and open that into a scene builder, and let's figure out what's happening. Now we have set the controller properly, this is fine, and let's check the IDs for that. There might be an ID causing this problem. And then first of all, we have the DB status ID. It doesn't work. Oh, sorry, we don't need ID for that. Let's click on label. We have the ID for DB status, text field, ID fine. And then we have the username label, doesn't need ID, password field, we have the password as an ID, combo box, COMBOBOX box, button, doesn't have an ID, does have ID, login button. It seems fine, but let's check at the anchor pane. Okay, so there's an issue here. We have the anchor pane ID here, which is set to combo box, and we have the combo box ID set to combo box as well. That's causing the problem. So you can change the one of the ID, so we don't need an ID for anchor pane, right? So what we can do, we can delete this from here, or we can go to fxml text file, and here I want to show you, you see this error is in the highlighted in red. That's the best part about IntelliJ IDEA. So it's telling us that the combo box ID is still here, and we're using the same ID for two objects. So we can delete this, okay, and then just get rid of this here. Let's save the file, and now it should fix the problem. Let's go to the controller file, and it should fix the problem now. Let's run the application and hope it runs. Okay, that is perfectly fine. So we are actually connected to database as well. Let's close this. I'm gonna go to fxml file, and here we have the label for DB status. So preference height, preference width is 92. We can change this to, let's say, 500. Nah, that wouldn't work. Just change this to 250. And let's run the application again, so we could see the whole text. Now it says connected to database. So we added XML library, we fixed our error for fxml file, and now it's connected to ID. So right now, if I select this admin and student, as you can see, we populated our combo box. So let's minimize this as well with the help of this. So this dot combo box set items. So we set the items from our enum. So this is the option enum. Okay, cool, right? Now our application is the front end is pretty much done. So we got username, password, admin, student. Now let's work on the backend. Backend means that, like, the functionality of that. Now in the initialize, we don't have to do anything, but we need to create a login function. So a login method. I'm actually been using JavaScript, so I'm calling method as a function. So for that, we go back to, first of all, fxml file, open that in scene builder, and then click on this login button. And then here we need to set our on action event. So let's click here. We don't have any method yet, but we will see a method here once we create a method. So let's do that. Let's go back to controller file, and then here we tag this to fxml first. So let's just say fxml, and then we just add private method, maybe make it public. So public void login method. So login and action event. Oops, as you can see, I made a mistake. So on the top, you can see we imported the wrong one, Java AWT event. So it's gonna give us error. Let's get rid of that. And then here we just type again action event, and make sure you select the Java FX event, not AWT. And let's just name it event. And then inside that, we can write our code to log into our application. Now let's go back to fxml file, open that in scene builder, and then here we're going to click on this button, and then I'm going to select the login on action event. So on action, so if I click on this button, it should run this code. So login. Let's save the file, let's close it, and now inside that there's a bunch of code we need to write. But first of all, let's do a few more things. First of all, let's just come down here and we need to create a few more methods. So public void, we can say student login method. Okay, so and then we need another method, public void admin login. Okay, and let's come down. So we have 3 methods now. So here we write the code for our student login, and then we write the code for admin login. Now we need to create a few more packages for each of these. So first of all, let's create a student package. So right click, new package. Let's just type here students, create a new package. It's created inside our login app. We need to extract it and put it in a source folder, refactor. So we have one package here inside our source. Then right click on a source instead of right clicking on login app, because it will create a package inside the login app. So right click source, click on package, and then we have admin package. Okay, so we created 2 more packages there. So first of all, let's work on student. So inside the student, click on new, and then first of all, let's create a class. So we can create a class of student and controller. This is one class. Inside that, right click and create a new class, which is going to be fxml file. So we can right click here, click on fxml file, and then type student fxml.fxml file. We have created that file there. And then to style our things, then what we can do here, I'm going to right click here and then let's click on this, and then student and fxml student style sheet, okay, .css file. Okay, let's save the file again, and we created all the files we need in the student. Let's work on admin now. In admin, we need to create a new Java class. So first of all, let's create a controller file. So admin controller class, and let's save the file, and then we need to retrieve the data for our students inside this. So we can create another class, and then let's just say student data. We got one more class there, and then fxml file for that. So let's just say admin.fxml file, save it, and then we can add a CSS file as well for that. So we can add a global CSS file, but it's better to add different files so we can style things. So let's say, okay, so we got all the files need in all the packages. So the first thing what we need to do here, let's go back to our controller file, and here we write the code. So once it log in, it will check whether the username and ID is for student or for admin. So let's write that code now. First, let's finish the student one. So we add try and catch block. Inside that, we create a new stage. So make sure it's a Java FX stage, not AWT or anything else that would give you an error. And then here we can type student, or maybe just say user stage, doesn't matter. It's user stage, new stage, and we create a new stage here. And then we can add fxml loader, because we're gonna load the fxml file, right, once our credential come true. So loader is equal to new fxml loader class, loader. And then we need to create another root here. So let's type pane. We can create a pane root, okay? So we need to import for that as well. We'll do that in a second. So type root is equal to, and then cast the pane inside it. So pane, and then call the loader. You could use the same line as we did with the main class. Where is it? Student data. There's so many classes open. Let's close pretty much all of them so we don't get confused. Controller file, we need the login app file. So you see this code here, you can use this code, but I just want to show you a different way. So you create a stage separately, create a fxml loader object separately, and then we use that object loader dot get class. So let's call the load method actually. So inside the load method, we call get class.getResource, and then here we typed in the path of our file what we want to open. So what we want to open once this thing comes out, we need to open this student fxml file, right? So let's just type the package name first, which is students slash, and then the file name, which is student fxml.fxml file, and then call a method open string. Alright, so we have a bunch of errors here. We have the pane is in red because we didn't import the pane yet. The IntelliJ IDEA didn't actually import automatically for us, so we do have to import manually. And then we have this option because it's we need to catch the exception, the IO exception. So let's just fix that first. So catch IO exception, then name it ex object name, and inside that just use ex.print. Now the error will go away. We have the error here for the pane, so let's go on the top and we can import. So import java fx.scene.layout, and there's a pane here, okay, and it should remove the error as well. Now after, we need to have the controller for that as well, so let's just type the controller object. So let's just use this class student controller. So here we type student controller inside our student package. We name it student controller is equal to, and then we just cast in that student controller class, and then after that we just say loader dot get controller. There's a controller, this is the method here, and that will attach that controller file to this fxml file as well. Now we got that, and then after that we need to create a new scene. So for that we can just say scene javafx scene is equal to new scene, and then from root. So you can see on the top we created a pane root. That's what we're using. We're doing the same thing over and over. So once this thing comes through, then we create another Java fxml file. We open that and then we add that to scene. So make that as a current scene. Okay, so and then we can say user stage. That's our object for the stage. We created a new stage, right? User stage dot set scene, then set the scene to scene, and then user stage dot, we can set the title for that as well, and then we can just say student dashboard, and let's type user stage dot, well, we can set the resizable as well. I'm gonna make it false. I don't want them to resize that for me. And then just user stage dot show that, okay, and that's pretty much it is. And then we have the admin login now. So in admin login is pretty much the same thing. What I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to write that quickly because I've already explained to you guys. I'll just do that like quickly. So try and catch block, and then here we type create a new stage admin stage is equal to new stage, and let's create that, and then fxml loader, and then admin loader is equal to new fxml loader, and then after that create another pane here, and admin root instead of that root, so admin root is equal to, and then casting pane, and then admin loader object dot load method, and inside the load method get class get resources, and then inside the resources we need to type the path for our name. So what's the package name? That's admin. So let's admin slash, what's the file we want to open? It's admin.admin.fxml, and then let's just open the stream as well, and stream. What's going on here? Okay, so there's an error here, streme. What's happening here? Okay, so we have an admin loader there, load get class and get resource as stream. Oh shit, we did the wrong one. So we don't have to do the as stream, but we can just say add resource, and then we can open the stream separately. Okay, see that? There's so many errors that you can fix out. Now we need to add a catch clause because that's what it's giving us an error, and that's the same catch clause IO exception and EX, or we'll just name it E, not to get you guys confused. So E dot print stray. Okay, done. Now after that we will just use the admin controller class. So where is it? Admin controller class, and let's just create an object for that and cast in admin controller again, and then admin loader class to load that file, because we are loading two of them here. That's why I created a separate object for loading stuff, and get controller, right? And then same thing with the scene, just quickly do it. So scene news scene, and then we can just create a new scene, and instead of just setting the scene later on, we can just type the scene inside it. So let's just admin root is our scene, and then add that to a stage. So we create a new stage, admin stage dot set scene, which is scene, and admin stage dot set title, and we can add in a quotation, say admin dash board, and then admin stage dot set resizable. We're just gonna make it false. I don't want them to resize that, it's gonna ruin the application. So admin stage, where is it? Admin stage dot show. Okay, so let's look at this application. It's pretty much done in our these two function. Let's go to the login function now. So that's the main part here. We need to check whether we get the stuff true or not. Okay, so for that, let's just open the try and catch block, and let's just add a catch block so we don't get an error, and then type exception and local exception, local exception. Okay, and inside that we don't really have to write anything yet, but we do that later if we get any exception. Okay, so inside the try and catch block, we need to write a few code here. This is going to be very complicated, so pay attention here. So first of all, we use the condition statement. So this dot login model, we use that login model. We created the login model object globally on the top. That's what we're using here. So if the login model dot is login method, so we created a is login method, right? So inside that, I will show you where is it, login model. So this is the method we're calling now. So boolean method, so string, password, and option. Okay, so calling is method, and then inside that we need to this dot username. So where is this username coming from? Coming from here. So whatever the text we get from this username, and then inside that, and then we can call it get text. Okay, get text, and then type the comma, and then this dot password dot get text. Okay, and comma, and then inside our, for the combo box, we need to add another parenthesis and say option. Okay, and then this dot combo box dot get value method, and then to string this here. Okay, that should remove the error. So we had two parentheses there, that's why I was giving. So if that thing happened, Then we open our code block. Inside the code block, then we can just say stage. We create this stage is equal to casting stage. Okay, and then this dot, and then we have the button name, which was let me just open that XML file. What was the button name? Button ID, actually, login button. Okay, so we go back here, so login button, and then get scene for that. So let's just scene, and then we got get window. There's a method here, get window, right? And then stage dot close. Okay, so once we get that, we need to close the older stage, right? So that's what we're gonna do here. And then after that, we need to use the switch statement. Switch statement is pretty complicated, so pay attention here. So we have option, and then after the option, this dot combo box dot get value again, and dot to string. Okay, and inside the switch statement, we need to check two cases now. So what was the cases? So case if it's admin, okay, and then it should open admin login. So this if it's admin, okay, and then it should open this. Okay, it's called this method. So admin login, and then let's break it after that. And then after the second case, we can just say case, and if it's student, student, and then inside that we can call student login method, and let's just break that as well. And for the default, just don't worry about it. And then after, we need to have else clause as well. One more thing here, so let's just open this file, and where is it? Actually, open in scene builder, and then here we need to create another label. So label, and then here we can just say just remove this, and we're gonna give it the ID of is login status. Okay, save that, and then we're gonna go top, and then we're gonna access that first. So let's just say add fxml, and then private label, and then that was, what was the name? Login status. I think I've spelled it right, but I just want to double check that, because after once you are done with it, it could cause a lot of problems. So we have the label here. Where did you go? This is the label. Login status S is capital. I'm gonna minimize this because we have to open that all the time. Let's save that file, and then here I'm going to type here this dot login status dot set text, and then inside that I'm going to write wrong credentials. Okay, done. Now let's run the application. Okay, so our school management system is working. Yeah, I forgot to set the resize to false for this, but let's just do it. Okay, so now if we type, let's just say erase, and then hello is the password, I'm gonna check that admin. So if I log in, and there you go, we got the admin dashboard open, and then the previous fxml file or window has been closed. Let's close this application and run it again, and this time we are going to type erase hello, and I'm gonna select student this time, and let's see if it checks. So let's log in, and there we go, we got the wrong credential, and I'm gonna change this to Umair, And then if I log in now and I get the student dashboard instead of admin dashboard, so our application is working. We done the validations and we got the both dashboards for students and admin. Now this is the time for us to work on the admin first, and once you learn how to work with the admin dashboard and how to retrieve data from database, you'll be able to create pretty much any kind of applications in database, like the basic ones, right? But you need to search, you need to learn more. All right, so let's close this application, and now we are going to minimize this login app and students. Now all we gotta work is admin area. So once we get to fxml file, I'm going to minimize it here, and then I'm going to right click and open that in scene builder. So let's open admin.fxml file into scene builder, and now we are going to design this page first, and then we will add the coding. To design, it's not that hard. All you gotta do is just drag and drop the components you need to do. So first thing, I'm gonna get rid of this pane, and I'm going to select the anchor pane. So that's the anchor pane, and I'm gonna drop it here. Now let's change the layout for that. So we go to the layout option here, and I'm gonna preference the width to 1280 by 720. That's like 16 by 9 ratio. Control minus to zoom out. Let me see if we can zoom out or not. Let me just expand this. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add a tab pane. So that kind of application we're making, but you can design it yourself. All the components are available here. Let's add a tab pane, and let's just drop it here. I'm going to increase the size for that as well. And here 1280 by 720 in a tab pane. We have two tabs right now. So first tab has let me just say that we have the anchor pane. So the second one, we're gonna get rid of it because we're only designing one. So let's just change this to student, or maybe capital S. And then inside the anchor pane, now we're gonna drop a few components. So the first component we need to drop is hbox and vbox. Okay, so let's draw the hbox first. So let's search for hbox, and I'm gonna drag and drop it here, something like that. Okay, and let's just expand the size of that. Let's just expand the size, something like that should be fine, and expand the size here. Okay, so inside the hbox, we're going to search for table view. That's the one, and then let's just drop that here. Okay, and then just expand the size. Now we have 1, 2 columns, right? So I'm gonna, first of all, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, right? So let's just duplicate them. So let's just duplicate all of them. So okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so the first one is going to be ID. Let's just double click on it, change the text to capital ID. Second one is going to be first name, and third one last name, and fourth one email. Fifth one, it's going to be DOB, date of birth. Okay, now I'm just going to expand the size of these to just adjust them, something like that. Okay, because once we populate the data, then it shouldn't, well, I want to keep the email a bit larger. Okay, so we got the table view done, and now let's work on the form. So that's the hbox there, and inside the hbox we have the table view, and I'm going to search for a few a vbox actually now. So let's search for a vbox. So, and then just drag and drop it here, like here. Okay, so let's just expand the size, something like that. Okay, so inside our vbox, just going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, here's fine. I'm gonna save the file, And now we need few things. So in the VBox, we're going to search for label first. So type label, drag and drop, and this is not going to let us to, okay, so here I'm going to say enter student details, sorry, add student, actually add students, okay, and then I'm going to give a padding to the right about 50 pixel to make it in the center or something like that, right? And then after that we need few forms, text fields. So let's just add text field, drop it here, one field, and I'm gonna duplicate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's just 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, and then for all of them, I'm gonna select all of them, and then I'm gonna give a padding right to 20 pixel. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So let's just give a margin actually. So let's set 20, maybe 15 is fine. And then on the right, 15 pixel margin. Okay, so now I'm gonna select the top one, and we're gonna go to the properties and enter, let's just say ID as a prompted text. Second one is going to be first name. Oops, what's going on here? So F first name, and third one is going to be last name. Just gonna change the N to capital M so looks nicer. And then what is it? Email. And then the last thing we need is a date picker. So let's just add type date picker and select it and drop it here. Okay, and I'm gonna expand the size of that as well, and then I'm gonna give a margin. So let's go to the layout tab and give a margin of 15 pixel to the right and then 15 pixel to the left. Okay, alright, so we got the date picker done. Let's save the file. I'm gonna click on preview, show preview in the window, and we can select the date from here. Okay, we got the ID, first name, and everything is done there. Okay, so now these table, all of these tables are pre-functional as well. Save the file, and now we need 3 buttons. Okay, so we need a button for adding student. So let's just select the button there. I'm gonna drop it there, and I'm actually going to select this VBox and give a margin of 15 pixel. Well, it's gonna, like, I need to do padding actually. So if we select the VBox and we go do some padding, and then it will automatically adjust that for us. Okay, now button is there, and then I'm going to add the margin 15 pixel to make it even, and then let's just done. Select that button by double click on it and add entry. Now let's just duplicate this as well, and then this one is going to be clear form, and let's just duplicate that again and double click on it, load data. Okay, and then I'm going to select both of these by pressing the shift key or control key if you're on a Windows, and then give a margin of 15 pixels. Let's save the file, let's look at it, and then there you go, we got the buttons there and we got the form done. Okay, now let's just save the file. Now, as we did before, we need to apply some IDs to our form fields and our buttons. So select the ID first, go to the code section, and then type the fx ID, which is going to be just an ID, lowercase letter, which is easier to remember, and then first name, and select the last one, last name and email, and select the next one. This is going to be DOB. And then we have some action events on these buttons. We will do that later. Now let's go back to IntelliJ IDEA and let's work on, so let's look at it. Okay, so this is the fxml file here now. So I'm just going to close a few of the files to make it cleaner. I'm just going to close all of them. Now we only have to work in admin controller and student data. So the first thing what we're going to do is work on student data. So for the student data, the package is admin there. Let's get rid of these comments. And then after that, we need to create few variables. So come down into the class and then say private and final. We keep them as final because these are going to be, and then we need to use another class called string property. Okay, this is the Java FX Beans property package. So let's select that. It will import that for us. And then it's ID. And that's the ID. Well, I don't know why it's giving us error. Okay, it's not been initialized. That's why it's giving us an error. Don't worry, we'll fix that. And then let's just add private final string property. And then first name. Okay, second letter is capital, final string property, and then last name. We're using a camel case, right? So private final string property, that's going to be email, private final string property, and then DOB, all capital. Okay, so now we need a setters and getters for that. But first, let's create a constructor for this. So let's just type public name of our class, which is student data. And inside the constructor, we need to pass in some parameters. Let's go inside these. And now let's just type string ID, string first name. String is a data type, alright. String last name and then string email and then string DOB. Okay, let's come down inside the constructor. Now we use this keyword to refer to these the global variables. So this dot ID is equal to new simple string property. Okay, and then here inside that we just pass in the parameter what we use in a constructor. So here we use this.id, which is a this property here, and then we use another class simple string property. If you're not sure about what are these, then you need to go and read the documentation. You will have an understanding what are these classes and how to use them and why to use them, right? Now let's do that for everything. So first name is equal to new simple string property. We pass in our first name variable, which we're using in the constructor, so that will help us to create that. So basically we are using the concept of encapsulation. I just want to hide that data, right? Last name is equal to new simple string property, last name, this dot email is equal to new simple string property. I know it's probably confusing for the people well watching this tutorial. This dot DOB is equal to new simple string property DOB. Okay, and come on. Okay, so we created a constructor. Now we need the setters and getters. Okay, so there's things that you can do. Let me find out. So we go generate and then click on setters and getters, and here it automatically detects that how many variables we have. So we select all of them, and then here then click OK, and there you go. Easy done, right? Isn't it? So all of our setters and getters are done here. Well, it did that, but it did that on the top. So what we can do, undo. I'm gonna take my cursor here, right click, generate setters and getters, select all of them. Hopefully it will do that at the bottom now. Yep, it did that at the bottom. So make sure your cursor is in the right place. Let's save the file. Now it created the setters and getters for us, so all of these setters and getters, but we need a few more things here. So down here, I'm going to declare public, and I'm going to use the string property class, and then ID property. This is just the name of this, so property, and inside that we just return this dot ID. Where is it? ID. Okay, and then let's just keep doing that. We need to create all of them string property. I will explain to you guys why we need them. Okay, first first name property, and this dot, sorry, we need to return this dot first name. Okay, save the file, and there's something wrong here. String property, first name is already defined. Okay, it says first name is already defined in admin.studentData. Okay, so it's already defined. Hang on a second. If we change the name, what happens? Okay, so that was already defined there. This is the one, string property. It actually defined string property already for us. So as you can see here, it actually already did that for us. ID property, first name property, and last name property. And I actually thought that I was using NetBeans, because in NetBeans it actually doesn't work. We have to do it like manually. Okay, so it actually did that for us already, so it's all good now. Next thing, we're gonna go to admin controller file. So this is admin controller file. It's going to be a lot of code in it. Now let's come down here, and first thing what we need to do is we need to add some fxml variables what we defined. So let's right click here. Let me show you. So these are all the objects we have, buttons, form fields, and this table and stuff like that. Okay, all right, so the first thing what we need to do is tag our fxml, and then private. The first thing is text field, which has the ID of ID. fxml private text field first name. Okay, I'm actually going to copy and paste these two, so let's just Control D. Oops, let's just copy them, and then let's just come down here, paste. Okay, so we got the first name, change this to last name, and then we have first name, last name, we have this email ID there, and then we have DOB as well. It's a data picker. Okay, and for the DOB, it's not a text field, it's a date picker. Okay, and then after that, let's just get rid of this. We don't need that anymore, so let's just save the file. And then we need to have a table view as well, right? So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna tag fxml and then private, and then we are going to create a table view first. So that's table view, and then make sure you select this, not the Java AX swing. Okay, Java FX scene control, select that, and then inside that we need to add our student data class. So that's instance of student data, and then type student table. We actually did not define this ID to our table, so let's right click and then go to scene builder again, and then let's just add the ID for that to our table. So expand this, expand this, expand this, edge box, there you go. We have the table view here, and then let's type student table, save it, and now it should remove this green line here. Save the file again. Now let's use the columns in our table view. So we're gonna tag them again. So it's fxml private, and then we need to use table column. Okay, and then inside the table column we need the what we are getting from what we're gonna put into it. So we need to type student data, comma, and then a data type of that. So as you can see, that extended object, we are getting that object from our student data class, and then it's a type, so that's string. Okay, and then after that, ID column. Okay, so let's go back to scene builder. And here we need to define the IDs for each of these columns as well. So let's select the ID, and once you select the ID column, you get to choose what you want to call it. So it's the ID column. Okay, I hope I spelled it right. So ID column, select the first name. So we name it first name column, column. So I hope it's spelled right, columns, because after once you complete this, you can't find the errors, bro. It takes a long time. column, okay, and then last name column column. We have the email column, so email column, dob column. Okay, so we define all the IDs there. Now let's go back to the code, and here as you can see we got the table column student data string. Okay, so I'm gonna copy and paste these, copy and then paste this. So we have 5 columns, so 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so the first one is going to be ID column. Second one, we named it first name column, and then the third one is last name column, and then we have email column, and dob column. Okay, so we got all the tables and columns ready for us to use, and now we need to add inside our admin control class, as we did with the login app class, so login controller, we need to implement initializable javafxml, because that's what we're going to use. Now it needs an abstract method, which is, the method is public void initialize, and then URL, and then let's just name it URL as well, and then resource bundle RB, it's just the name of that. And then inside that we need to create an instance of our connection. So we're getting a connection from this class, DB connection, right? So before we do that, let's just define a global variable for our connection class in this class. So what it's going to, we need let's just do that here. So private, and I'm gonna DB connection, and we'll just name it DC. Okay, well it's gonna give us error, so alt press enter. Well, it's gonna ask me to add a constructor, but now we need to import that class. So here we type import and db util dot db connection class. Okay, now it will remove the error. Now why we need to import that? Because it's in a different package. So if you're coming from a different package, you need to import that class to use. Okay, Now we got that, and we need to initialize that. So in initialize, we can just say this.dc is equal to new db connection. We create a new connection, so whenever it pops up, like this window comes up, it will instantly create a new connection from our database. Now after that, let's we need to define two more variables. So let's just type private, and we're going to use observable array list. Where is it? Observable list. I need to go back to the documentation. Actually, we don't need to create an array list, so just observable list coming from, again, JavaFX collection package. Select that, and then here we need to pass in our student data class. So all the data coming from this student data class. That's why we defined setters and getters over there. Now what are we gonna call this? Well, I don't know, maybe call data should be fine. And then private, and well, load button. We do the buttons later. We have all of these text fields and stuff like that, but we need a button as well. So after this, let's work on another method, fxml, and then we are going to create a method to load data to our columns. Now make it private void. Let's name it load student data. That's the action event. You can just name it event, and then inside that, first of all, let's open a try and catch block. Not to take that error, we just add a SQL exception here, and then inside our catch block, if there is an error, we can just print it out, system.err and .println, and we can just say this is the error, concatenated with our error, actual error. Okay, so we need to import for that as well. So let's click on this bowl. Now it's gonna give us an error. We don't have an import for, yeah, we do actually. SQL exception. We'll figure out why it's giving us an error. Well, let's just finish the code first. Let me just get rid of this. For now, let's just write the code and let's see what we need to write. Okay, so we initialize our connection from DC. So now we can use that. First of all, let's create another connection, and we name it con is equal to, we can select db connection class and then get connection method. Remember, we created this method get connection, so everything coming from here now. So this is gonna get the connection from our Sqlite database. So we got that, and then let's come down. We need an import for this, so let's go to the top, and then let's just type here. Why IntelliJ is not working very well today, I'm not sure why. So java.sql and then connection. Okay, and then it should remove the error. Now why is this the error giving us? So this error is coming because db connection, it's taking the SQL exception. So we can throw an exception here. Let's see if it works. Throw SQL exception. Yep, it did get rid of that error. Okay, now after that we can use this .data. That's our object for our observable list, this .data, and we can set that equal to, now we need to use FX collection framework again, and from that I'm going to use observable array list. So this is the interface. Where is it? Okay, this one. Okay, this is the interface, and then we are going to set that to our class observable array list and add a semicolon. Now next we are going to use the result set, and let's name it rs, and then connection, which is coming from this variable con. Let's just type dot. We need to create a statement. So create statement and dot execute query, and now we need to type the query. There are two ways that you can type the query here. You can add a global variable. So if we type here, let's just go up and say private, and then I'm gonna type here string as a variable, data type SQL is equal to, and then in the quotation we can say select SQL is from where we want to select the data, from student table, right? So let's just type students. This is the table in our database. Now I can just type simply here, instead of double quotation, I can type SQL. Okay, so you could do that here, you could write the line here, but it's better to keep the variable later on when you want to change the application. Now we got the result set done. Now we need to use the while loop here. So let's type while loop, and then here I'm going to check result set. This is the result set variable, which is getting the data, which is executing the query from SQL database. So if I say next, so it checks whether it has anything in the table, then it is going to run this loop. So because we need it to keep running until our last row. Okay, so the last row has the data in it. Now inside that, let's just type this dot data, and then dot add, and then here we can say new student data. We need to add a new student data into our table. So inside that, now let's use our RS object, which is actually getting the data and storing that here. Okay, so let's just say rs dot get string. Okay, now we need to type the index for that. So what is going to be the index? So the number one index, right, which is going to be ID. And then let's add a comma here, and then let's use rs dot get string again. So the string is a data type, right? That's why we're calling this method. And then we can keep going until we have the full 5 columns, right? rs dot get string, and then let's just type 3 here. So rs dot get string number 4, and the last one is the date of birth. So let's just rs dot get string as well. It's a date picker, but we will convert that into string. Let's type 5 here, and then let's get out from it and add a semicolon method. So this is going to keep running until we have the data in our database. Now this is done, and then here we just type SQL exception E, and now it's not going to give us an error because we already thrown an exception on the top. Okay, so here we'll just print out, well, it's up to you if you want to just return null, whatever you like, but here we just usually do system error ln, and we can just add in a quotation, it's a string, plus the variable for our catching the exception. Okay, that's done, and now we got the data, the loop run until the last row of our database, and then after we get that, now we need to display that data to our tables, right? So what we can do here, now to display that data, on the top we can see we created the table columns and we given them IDs as well. So now we can use them. So come down here and then type this dot, well, this keyword refers to the global variable. Okay, if it's confusing, watch my Java tutorial. So ID column, okay, this dot ID column dot set cell value factory. Okay, that's the method you need to call, set cell value factory. and then we can just create a new property here. So let's just say property value factory, and then inside our student, it's already actually added that student data and string. It's giving us a suggestion. Now here, what we want to add into this cell, we want to add ID, right? Let's just type ID. That's the property. Well, where this coming from, remember student data, this is the string property we need to put into it once we get the data for this loop. Okay, and then it passes into this ID, and then we will use this ID to display the data in it. Now I'm going to copy this line. Let's just copy that, and let's just paste it 1 2 3 4 5 times. Now we have the ID column first, then we have the first name column, and then we have last name column, email column, and then DOB column. Okay, so we need to change the property name as well, which is first name here, capital N. Remember, make sure you check the student data class. This is the class, capital N. Don't write small letter because it's gonna give you an error. Last name, it's a camel case. And next one is email. Let me double check that. Yep, that's email there. And then the last one is DOB. Let's just double check. DOB capital C. I made a mistake here. If I didn't look at it, it would be a bigger problem than ever. I wouldn't be able to figure out what's happening here. Now after that, just type dot student table and dot set items, and then here just type null this dot student table dot set items, and then now this dot data. Okay, all right, and now that's done. This is the method load student data. Now let's open our admin fxml file into scene builder, and we select this as an action event for that. So load data. Okay, this is load data, and I'm gonna make sure first let's select the controller for that. So this is the admin controller. Select it, save the file, and now we will be able to see the functions we have, the methods we have into our controller file. Select this, save the file. Let's close it. Okay, so we got the action event done for load data. What is the next thing? Next thing, we need to add data to our database. Well, let's create a function for that as well. So tag that with fxml, because that's what we're gonna use into our admin.fxml file. That's when we can see that. Okay, so in fxml file, now we need to add another private, make it wide, add student method, and then it's a action event again. So let's just choose action event, and then inside that, first of all, let's write our query string. So for that, type string and then SQL is equal to, and now this is the query. You could actually define the variable on the top as we did for this query, but I'm actually going to change the name. Insert might be confusing for you guys, SQL and SQL, so it's insert SQL query. So here type insert, this is the SQL query, it's got nothing to do with Java. Okay, so insert into, and then we type here student in the student table, and then add a parenthesis. So here we have ID, comma, F name, comma, L name, comma, email, comma, DOB. Okay, and then what are the values for that? So let's just type capital. You can type the lowercase as well, so VALUES, and then add a placeholder for this query. So question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then after that, let's add a semicolon here. Okay, this is the query. Let me explain to you. Basically, this query is telling us insert into students in ID which is a placeholder for this. Second one is f name, which is a placeholder for this. L name, placeholder for this. So it goes like one for this placeholder, the ID got 1, 2, 3, like index space. Now after that, let's use the try and catch. Oops, what it's doing. Try and catch block, and here we create a connection again. So con, it's a local variable, that's why we can name it same as we did on top, connection. So don't get yourself confused with this connection. And again, db connection dot get connection, we got the connection. Now we need to use the prepared statement class, and we just name it stmt is equal to con. This is the connection dot prepare statement. Okay, so here we need to type the SQL query. So that's SQL insert query. Okay, it's giving us an error here. Why it's error? Add a catch clause. Yep, that's fine. That was the error. Now let's add a space here. Now we created a connection again. We prepared a statement. We named the variable we named the object to stmt, and it's coming from connection.prepared statement, and then we use this SQL query. Now let's use our prepared statement object. So let's start stmt dot set string, and then here we need two things. Okay, so as you can see, we need the index parameter and the string. So we can use index1, okay, comma, and now what are the string we want to put into it? So this is coming from this dot id dot get text. Okay, I hope you understood. So index1, which is this one, id, it has a placeholder here. That's what we define here, 1, and then we need to type whatever we want to store into it. So this dot id get text. So what is the id? This is the text field ID. That's what we're gonna get the text from. Okay, once we type the text, this is going to be used. Now we got this method get text from this ID. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and let's just put it 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's 5 times. So on index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. Okay, and then here we need to use first name from text field. Okay, this is the text field. This is the first name text field, as you can see on the top. And next thing is on index 3, we need to store last name. On index 4, we need to store email. And index 5, what is index 5? DOB. Okay, now it is not going to get us let us use this method because this is not a string, or this is not a text field. So let's remove this method, and on this we need to get editor method, get editor. So this is the editor, right? This is the method dot get text. Okay, so now we get the editor from the date picker, and then we get the text from it, and then after that we need to execute our query. So stmt dot execute. Okay, and then we can close the connection as well. Remember, always close the connection, it's a good practice. Now let's save the file, and then after we created this add student, so let's go back to scene builder, and then this is the add entry button there, and then we need to select this add student, save it, and then we can close this. And once we add the data, we need to clear the form as well. So it's very simple. All you do is just use few lines here. So create a method for that as well. Private void clear fields fields. It's an action event as well. Name it event, and then inside that we just clear the form. simple. It's very, very simple. So this dot id, okay, dot get, sorry, set text, and we set it to empty. Very simple. This dot first name dot set text empty. Okay, once it's empty, even though we click on the add data, it's not going to do that anything. Set text and set it to empty. This dot email dot set text and empty. And then last one is this dot dob. We can't use set text because it's a date picker, so we could use set a value. Okay, this is another, and we can just say null. Okay, let's save the file. Let's go back to admin.fxml file in our scene builder. Let's select this clear form button, and inside that we can use this clear fields button. Let's save the file. I'm gonna preview this one last time, and this is how our application looks so far. And one more thing I want to mention, this is just the open source application. You can actually download the source code for this from my GitHub, and then you can modify this. You can add more features such as searching the form fields, and if we click on the data inside the columns, it should display that into a different fxml file. So here we can add a few more tabs. So student tab, I'm going to add, let's just say tab, and we can even add one tab here. So as you can see, this is going to be admin section. Okay, so let me just save this file and let's just preview this again. And you can see here we have multiple tabs. A lot of people get don't know how to basically add more things to the application. So you can add tabs, unlimited tabs here, and then keep adding the functionality, add different fxml files, add their controllers, and work with them. Okay, now let's close this. One last time, I'm going to debug the application and run it, and finger crossed if it works or not. Let me just log in as an admin. Hello, we need to select admin, log in, and there we go. We got the stuff done. Now I'm gonna make sure to clear the form. If I click on load data, wow, it actually works. So let me just add a data to it. So let's just say it's like 69, and I'll add Coca-Cola. I'm actually drinking Coke this time, so well, the last name for the cola is gonna go down, and email coca at coca.com. Now let's add a date for it. So let's just use it. Click on add entry, and now let's click on load data, and there we go. We got another data from database. Now to show you guys, I'm going to take you guys back to the database and let's figure out. So this is the data. We're going to connect to it. Okay, we need to remove this database. Let's just remove this, and let's just open the database, add database, and then let's click on this open, and then we create a Java project, idea project, and then here we should see our database. It should be okay, it's here. Okay, so let's open this, and inside that we have two tables, student tables, and I want to take you guys to the data. And there you go, we added the Coca, right? So this is here. So we can see that data has been added to our database. Okay, so the last thing we're going to learn is how to ship this application, how to create a jar file from your IntelliJ idea. And then basically you can, if you want someone to use your application to add students, or you are creating a bigger project than this, then how do you ship that? How do you give it out? So for that, what we're going to do is, first of all, let's go to file menu, go to project structure, and here you can see I've already created this. So I'm just going to delete that. So once you get to the project structure, you will get to this page. You will see this like this. Now we're going to go to artifacts, and once you click on artifacts, I want you to click on the plus icon, and then you go to jar, and then click on from modules with dependencies. And then here you need to select the main class. So this is the login app is the main class. So select it from here and then just click on extract to target jar. So it's going to give us the default file, the manifest file. So just click OK and then click apply and then click OK. Now once you've done that, you will see these files here. So properties, Sqlite. So you see more files like meta-inf. So there's a few more files, you will see them here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to build and then we're going to click on build artifacts. So now this option is available for us to use. But before we build that artifacts, you won't be able to click on it. So let's click on build artifacts and then click on build again. And there you go. That's pretty much it is. That's what you want to do. And now, obviously, you need. I'm gonna go take you guys to the Dropbox and let's see Java project, idea project. Okay, so now if we go to the out folder, if we go to the artifacts, and we have this school system._jar. Click on that, and there you go. So we got two files here: school system and school system.sqlite database. Okay, so now let's say that we delete this database. Okay, refresh the page. I'm gonna double click on it to run this application, and if I type erase hello is the password, I'm gonna click on admin, click on login. As you can see, it didn't work. It's not working at all. The reason why it's not working because it doesn't have any data in it yet. So it actually created a Sqlite file for us automatically. As you can see, this file does not have anything. So what you need to do, you need to basically have an ID for admin actually. So for the admin and stuff, you need to have an ID and stuff. So what you can do, then you can actually create that database. So I mean, I was using the database before we start a project. We actually designed the database, right? So every time you create a new project, you need to have a database for that. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go to out, and in our default project folder, and then here we have this school system.sqlite, which has some data. As you can see here, we have the 16 kilobyte. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm gonna go to out, artifacts, and I'm gonna paste it here. I'm going to replace the file. So now we have this 16 kilobyte. Now let's just say I will create another folder, and I'll just say school system made by me, and I'm going to just copy this file and put them there. And now I'm going to cut this folder, and I can just put wherever I want. So I'm just gonna paste it here. See, so we're gonna open this folder now. It's on the desktop. It's not in our SQL. Sorry, it's in our project folder. So now if I run this application, or anyone will run this application who has the JDK installed. So if I type erase hello admin login, and there it goes. Our application actually works, and we can actually load data. And I want you to add some more functionality, such as delete data. If I double click on this entity in our column or in our table view, we should open another fxml file, another window, which will have all the details such as profile picture. You want to modify the student, right? So I want you to add more functionality to this application. I might do another tutorial, like second part, in which I'll show you how to delete data, how to open another fxml file, another window actually from one of these. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. And yeah, if you like this video, click on that like button, and if you dislike it, click on that dislike button. And yeah, subscribe to the channel to support this. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Chase.